Sometimes, when you use something for years, day in and day out, it starts to lose its significance. So let's begin by taking a step back to what a power of attorney is. Simply put, it's one person authorizing another person to do something for them or to represent them. A person gives a power of attorney to a realtor to represent them in a real estate transaction. A person might give power of attorney to their financial planner to manage their investments. Or a person might give power of attorney to a relative to make their medical decisions. In our business, a person gives us power of attorney to represent them to the U.S. government to clear their shipments through customs. If a company is a partnership or a limited liability company, then the principal is the name of the company, and any one of the partners or members of the LLC can sign the power of attorney. It's worth noting that a power of attorney from a company should be signed by someone who is an owner, someone with a personal financial stake invested in the company. In a corporation, the owners are the stockholders, and in a big corporation there can be thousands of stockholders, many of which have nothing to do with the management of the business. But corporations will hire corporate officers that do manage the business. A large body of stockholders will often elect a board of directors from their membership to watch over the corporate officers. But in small, privately held corporations, the stockholders, the board of directors, and even the officers can all be the same people. The corporate officers, president, vice president, corporate secretary, and corporate treasurer, have been empowered by the stockholders through the corporate charter filed with their state government to represent the stockholders and to run the business. These corporate officers, president, vice president, corporate secretary, and corporate treasurer, are the people that can legally sign a power of attorney for a corporation. By the way, there are a lot of vice presidents that are not truly corporate officers but are just glorified managers. Banks can have hundreds of them. A true corporate officer will often be called a senior vice president or an executive vice president. Another aspect of companies is that they can have different locations around the country. These can be divisions, or these can be wholly owned subsidiaries. A division may be a separate business unit, but only to the company. To the government and to the rest of the world, it's all the same company. A division will have the same IRS number as the main company. A division cannot bind itself in contract or legal obligation independently from the company, so a division cannot sign a power of attorney for itself. A power of attorney can only come from and be for the entire company. On the other hand, a wholly owned subsidiary is recognized by the government as a separate legal entity. It may be owned by the parent company, but it is, nonetheless, a separate company. A subsidiary will have its own IRS number because it has its own separate identity. A subsidiary can make major decisions and can bind itself in contract or legal obligation independently from the parent company. And because it is a separate company, a subsidiary can sign a power of attorney for itself. Okay, here comes an importer, and he wants us to clear a shipment for him. And here's his power of attorney. We're all good customs brokers. What are we going to do? Like most good brokers, we're probably going to take that IRS number and do a bond query. And what does that tell us? You never get one of these, do you? What are you going to do now? Or we might get this back. Now what are we going to do? But wait a minute, that's not the same as what was on the power of attorney. What's going on here? Is the importer lying to us? Is there bad data in ABI? Even customs would tell you that there's a lot of garbage in ABI. It's only as good as what the sloppiest customs broker puts in there. And the sloppiest customs broker never comes to WESCCON, right? For a number of years now, it's been a best practice for customs brokers to verify that the information on the power of attorney is accurate, that the name is correct, that the address is correct, that the person signing it has the requisite authority. That's pretty easy to do when you're dealing with a publicly traded corporation. You can get that information from the Securities and Exchange Commission. But what about privately held corporations, partnerships, LLCs, sole proprietorships? There's always that get a letter from the IRS routine. If you can get that, fine, but it doesn't tell you that the signer of the power of attorney had the authority to sign. Also, you often end up getting something like this. No, not a blank IRS form that you fill out, a form that the IRS fills out, because it's just a little too easy for someone to dummy up anything they want. Which could be said for the power of attorney as well. So, what's a good broker to do? All of these companies, public or private, have IRS numbers, but the IRS does not provide a mechanism, like ABI, to query an IRS number in their system, to check the company name, address, etc. CBP does make some suggestions on what a good broker might do. They don't quite say that this is required, because it's not in 19 CFR 111, but they say that a power of attorney should be examined carefully, that we ensure that it is valid, that we verify the grantor's identity, and that he has the legal authority to sign it. Then they suggest some ways that we might do this. Have the power of attorney completed in person. Okay, how often does that happen? Check websites to verify registration with state authorities. Hold that thought, I'll get to it in a moment. Have the trade name or fictitious name appear on the power of attorney, and verify that the name and the IRS number on the power of attorney match what's in ABI. I've lumped these 2 points together because I have a little problem. If a power of attorney is from Joe Schmo Industries doing business as Joe's Cool Stuff, doesn't the 7501 also have to read Joe Schmo Industries doing business as Joe's Cool Stuff? What if they're on file with a continuous bond with a different name or address? Is my entry rejected? What if I know what's in ABI and on the bond is wrong? I can't file a 5106 update. Only the broker that got that bond can do that. Again, ABI is only as good as what the sloppiest customs broker puts in there. Rounding out the list, we should check that the grantor is not a restricted party, and I'll talk more on this in a minute as well.